During the war, my mother said the mother country is at war, son, go, and if you live it will be a good thing. In 1944 I joined the Royal Air Force and I served in stations from RAF Hawkins near Folkestone to RAF Tenloss near Elgin, Scotland, and 16 stations in between. I'm an aircraft engineer, and if you have propeller-driven aircraft and it stops, you can ring me. I wanted to stay in England after the war, but they said, no, you're from the colony of Jamaica, you have to go back. So I went back, and I came back on the SS Empire Windrush in 1948, and I went back into the Royal Air Force because my father said I must stand on my own 2 feet. It's a good thing, and let the nation know that people serve, and the young people especially. I went to Barking and Dagenham to a school, and one little English girl says, I don't see black people in the war film. Well, luckily, I had my medals and said, well, you don't buy these in Marks and Spencer. I was in the war, and she accepted that.
There are so many of us doing so many different things. In the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, West Indians are fighting for the new world that we all want to see.
There was a shortage of RAF pilots. But many, many came. Over 12,000 joined the RAF during the war.
One of them was Sam King, who was proud and glad to leave his home in Jamaica to fight for his mother country.
Having joined the Royal Air Force, you had to do square bashing, learn to walk up and down and drill and take the civil mentality out of you into military. You are told to go, you go, and you are told to come, you come. I arrived in Filey, which is in Yorkshire, in November, 9th of November, 1944. I trained for square bashing. Then I went to RAF Hawkins near Folkestone, and from there I learned engineering. Now, the old-time aircrafts, which is propeller-driven, if they stop, you can ring me, man, even today, and we get it going. Not jets. I know nothing about jets. I went back in November on the SS Almanzora, and after 5 months, I was not happy in Jamaica. Things have changed. In 1944, there was a hurricane blowing down most of the bananas, coconut. That takes about 5 years to get back properly. Secondly, I wanted to finish my studies. In Jamaica, my father worked it out that I was going to be a farmer because I'm the eldest son. I had no intention of doing that in Jamaica because planting banana is not a problem, it's selling them.
Many of the people who came here on the Windrush had nowhere to stay when they arrived, so 230 of them were placed in air raid shelters like these, which were part of the London Underground. Having travelled all that way on the Windrush, being stuck in a boat and then arriving and then being told that this is going to be your home for the next few weeks while they find you accommodation, it must have been awful. And I imagine as well that if you'd fought for your country, you must have been sitting here thinking, surely I deserve better than this.
I wanted to stay in England because I was learning sanitary engineering. Well, they said, you're from the colony, you cannot stay unless you were married to an English lady or you were accepted to a college. I was sent back to the colony of Jamaica. Try and remember that about 30,000 men volunteered for the forces during the war. Men had worked on the Panama Canal, men had worked in America on the farms and in the factories. There was also a hurricane in Jamaica in 1944. When I went back, it was shocking. At that time, there was a pull to England because I would say 50% of Britain, especially England, was destroyed through enemy action. Or I would say 2/3 have either been in the Royal Air Force or in the forces, so we had a rough idea of what Great Britain was like. Another third had been to America and the farms, etc., and about 1/3 were peasant farmers. They had no idea. In my case, we expected the mother country
to receive us, and give them their due. Although they did not want us, they did receive us, and at the end of the day, it went very well.
What was the atmosphere like then when you arrived on the Windrush?
Well, let us get back about 5 days outside of Tilbury. There were consternation in Parliament. The Daily Dispatch stated that black people should not arrive in Britain from the colony. Creech Jones, the Minister for the Colony, said, don't worry about these people, they'll only stay one winter, but give them their due. The people who had nowhere to go, 232 men, were taken to Clapham Deep Shelter. The nearest labour exchange at that time was Cold Harbour Lane, Brixton, and that is why my people are in Brixton today in that proportion.
There is that build-up of we don't want you, and we don't want you in Notting Hill. And that how the Teddy Boys, not the host nation, maybe just 5% thought they could beat us back to the boats. We, as ex-servicemen, had no intention of running from Hitler, less more Teddy Boys.
There was a tendency when you see an ad in the paper says there's a room to let it say Stockwell, in the evening paper or the Standard, you arrived and they would say no, and then you'd see a notice, no Irish, no black, no dogs. I thought the British liked dogs, but they said no dogs. At the same time, people eventually did let you have a room, resulting in some cases there were 4 people into one room. In my case, I went back into the Royal Air Force, and after about 2 years, with my brother, we started buying a property, 9 Sears Street, Camberwell. So the fact that I had a background and I had English family, 15 Montague Street, Bulwell, Nottingham, I knew the system. But many of my people had to sleep in the park because they were thrown out and all things like that.
But I found if I had a stable job, I would help myself and help my fellow. Applied to join the police, got the application form. This day I went to New Scotland Yard for the test. Took the test and I was surprised. I passed the test. Took the medical, I passed the medical. You have to go before a selection panel, which is about 6 chief officers and superintendent, whatever it is. And they asked me why I wanted to join. I said, well, I was in the Royal Air Force. I want a job. They said, well, you're a carpenter, because I went and learned carpentry as well. They says, you just want the job for easy. I said, no, I want a job for a career. They said they will send and let me know. 4 days or so after I got the letter, they are very sorry. I could not join the Metropolitan Police. I was disappointed. I lived that in 1983, the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police asked Sam King with a gold chain around his neck to get black people to join the police. The Labour grouping selected me as a mayor. Now, once the Labour group select you as the mayor, you're there. Because the opposition, we were about 44 out of 62. So the opposition only talked. But give them their due, no one opposed Sam King as the mayor, because my background was Royal Air Force. My background was with Claudia Jones, God rest her soul. I was responsible for the finance for the first West Indian Carnival. I was a member of the ex-servicemen. So I've done my little bit and I've done my home.
One way of seeing the voyage of the Windrush is as a journey towards racial acceptance. Those servicemen who arrived here aboard the Windrush and the many that followed all played a vital role in creating a new concept of what it means to be British. We're in Windrush Square in Brixton. How proud does it make you feel
Let
to be
me
here?
feel that I contributed a little. I'm not proud, because our people came, we run your buses, we clean your hospitals, and we help rebuild Britain. And today's not bad. Look at those pigeons out there.